Is there anything that you guys want to discuss before we get into the letters?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Did you watch AEW?
Yep. Not the whole thing, but most of it.
You got a link?
I don't know. I was on a bus ride from Mexico to from this place called Querétaro to Mexico, which is like almost 3 hours. And Daga and Tessa had a link, and they were showing it to everybody on the bus. So I don't know where they got it.
Right. What did you, Joe? Did you watch it?
Yeah, not the whole thing. Like Conan, I saw the opening battle royal. I saw Cody and Dustin, and I saw Jericho and Omega.
Okay, so because I don't care about the matches. Like you could talk about the matches, but who gets the rat's ass? Okay, but
the matches are bad. You do give it rat's ass.
No. But I'm not saying. But the context of what I want to talk about.
Right.
The matches are irrelevant.
Yeah.
Okay, Joe, did the production quality look like high? Like compare it to the WWE in terms of production quality?
Everything looked great from what I saw. The building did too. There were some of those missed cues that you probably wouldn't see right now in WWE, but they'll get there. Maybe it's first pay-per-view and whatnot.
The visual picture, did it look like this is a company that is like on equal terms with WWE?
Not equal, but right under. It did. Everything looked very good.
There,
yeah,
right there.
Yeah, right there.
So you go into the show, and of course, obviously, whenever things like this happen, all the internet response is very, very positive, very like everything's. So you're not going to get have a discussion because everybody's just all the people that are watching are talking about how great this is, right? Okay, so what I want to talk about is
maybe they're talking that it was good because it was.
Okay, but that's what I want to get in the context to is you'll see what I'm doing here.
Yep.
So there's obviously very positive reaction.
Right.
Very, across the board, WWE wrestlers are tweeting about saying, okay, so now let's fast forward to Monday night, and there's very obvious that AEW has made a very, very, very strong first impression. Okay, and I'm thinking okay, what is Vince gonna do now? That okay, we're coming up. There's everybody in professional wrestling is talking about what happened at AEW last night. Okay. How are we going to counteract this, right? And I'm watching the first 25 minutes of Raw last night. Kofi Kingston with the WWE Championship comes down. He's throwing pancakes into the crowd like a frisbees. Right. Okay, like shoot pancakes. Seth Rollins comes out. They call Brock Lesnar out. Brock Lesnar comes out. They've actually made the Money in the Bank like a big joke, and they made it into a boombox. Brock is doing the thing. He gets in the ring for the promo. And he's doing this they do this segment, which is okay, I'm just going to annoy you guys until you leave. Did you see this segment?
Yeah, way too long.
And he
party.
made to Seth Rollins walked off.
Right.
And I'm watching this and this first 25 minutes. And it's okay, are you guys oblivious to the fact that the night before the obvious upcoming competitor of yours in a few months on TV made a very strong first impression, and this is how you are reacting to the fans of wrestling? This is what you're showing us tonight?
That's so funny because that is exactly the same thing I thought. This is how you're opening up the show with this bullshit? Because first of all, that whole segment was way too long. The Brock Lesnar when he came out with the boombox. Huh?
The 12 starts fighting the guy, and that thing lasts 2 segments. After it's just I was Jesus Christ, man.
And so, for example, did you see the great? And it wasn't even a long promo, but did you see that in-ring post-match promo that Cody cut on Dustin?
Yes.
No, I did not see that.
Bro, that was fucking great.
It was nice.
So his brother's got the crimson mask. He's fucking bleeding. They had a fucking hell of a match, emotional storytelling. And then he's in the fucking corner. And then they've been telling this story that as a shoot, they've never really gotten along that good because, Dusty spent a lot of time with, kind of the same thing that happened with Ric Flair, where he spent a lot of time with Reed because he didn't spend a lot of time with David. Right. So the same shit happened with him. And, Dustin always felt that Cody was cocky and all this. And there was like a little bit of heat there, right? Mm-hmm. And so at the end, he goes, yeah, I have an open thing for Jacksonville, whenever the fuck the next show is. Right. He goes, for a partner of my choosing, and everybody pops because obviously he wants, Dustin to be his partner. He goes, but I don't need a partner. What I need now is a brother, and they both hug, bro. It was fucking great.
It was it was a throwback. If you remember, it was something like '94 in WCW. Dusty needed a partner to wrestle the Nasty Boys, and he asked Dustin the same way, like, I don't need a partner, I need my son, and give your dad a hug and a kiss and all this, and like the crowd really popped, and they were both crying, kind of similar to what Cody and Dustin did, Like,
yeah, I do remember that promo where he goes, "Yeah, we're the Kennedys are blood, and these guys are blood, and we're blood, and what I need today is my son." And he was crying, and the other guy. It was really good, and so you're watching stuff like that, or even the symbolism of a throne coming out and him breaking it with a sledgehammer, and bro, that match between the fucking Young Bucks and Lucha Brothers was fucking ridiculous. But anyways, looking at All In and then looking at Raw, I was like, wow, you did absolutely nothing to make this show better.
They did the dumbest. They did the spot that I can't stand. Okay, and it was a running gag throughout the show. They were having the barbecue outside.
Oh yeah, right.
Okay,
right. Bro, which they always do. Wait. Let me get something. Which they always do when it's like Halloween or Thanksgiving, and it's always usually they used to be really good back in the day, and now they've like kind of corny. Well,
yeah.
And EC3 has to have some sort of heat, right?
Right. Okay. Let me tell you why it's corny. It's because and this is I'm taking this segment and extrapolating it into a big picture thing. Right. It's like how the wrestlers today don't know how to get over like we used to. Right. Okay. So you do this barbecue segment, and like everybody and their mother is overacting in it, and it's seen with like 25 people trying to get over.
Right.
Okay. And so, but when you're watching this, like they're doing their thing, but as a fan watching it, the visual pictures, you look at this going like, why is everybody acting like an idiot? Because so everybody's like, just like, it's like, well, this is a barbecue. It's like, I've never been to a barbecue where like everybody's like over the top, right. Just because you're eating freaking food, right? Right. So it's like nobody even know how to act in that setting. And like they're going back to this 3-4
because everybody's trying to get over in that 1 minute segment, right?
Right, you're trying to get like nobody's noticing you. The funniest one is like when they used to do those, and like I think Jericho would just like stand there. He'd be the guy doing absolutely nothing.
The
to realize that, like everybody's different.
Like a year ago or 2 years ago, we actually reviewed one that was great, where Jericho was in it. Remember?
Right. He was doing like nothing, while everybody else and their mother was doing like everything. I think maybe like. Right. The one we were talking about, Cesaro and the guy were arm wrestling, but they were just stuck in the middle position the entire time, right? So
but it was kind of funny. It was funny, everybody was doing something, right? Yeah,
right. So yeah, but I'm just like thinking, like I like, boy, then this keeps bringing up my point. If AEW went head to head with Raw on Monday night right now, if that show started tomorrow and they went head to head with Raw next week after the show that Raw put on. I guarantee I think they could take like literally almost half the audience away from Raw. If people started channel surfing,
There was guys like Matt Kuhn and Ryan Satin tweeting things like, man, WWE's going to have to make a big statement tonight. Wait, they're going to come out. They're going to have a great show tonight to show AEW. And I kind of tweeted back like, when Nitro started and won the ratings a few times and all this, and there was a competition, it took WWE like 2 years to really catch up. Remember, from 95 to 97, it wasn't very good,
Right.
It took them a while to realize that there was a threat. So maybe...
And then as it started at the single point, when The Rock and Stone Cold were mid-carders and began their rise towards top guy status. Mm-hmm. And then that was the turn of the thing, So it's like, you can look at that. That's exactly what turned it around, I did like one thing. I did like when Ziggler came out, just because I hadn't seen him in a long time. But again, when I was looking at it, I was thinking, all right, the same thing will always happen. Ziggler will have great matches, will give good promos, and you'll do nothing with him again. Shane McMahon, brutal.
just brutal. Just but too much Shane McMahon. He's he's beating up Roman Reigns' cousin, who actually used to wrestle in MLW, and is real good. That kid,
right?
Lance Anoy or whatever, and just beat him up like he was a J-Bron. Why would we even care that he's Roman Reigns' cousin? I mean, we've done nothing to set up any, terrible show again, and I'm thinking to myself, bro, you better quit fucking around because these guys mean business. Those videos that Moxley's come out with are fucking incredible. Yeah. The pop that he got when he came out. And I the day before I was at StarCast and I did run into Mark Madden backstage. And so I ran into Dustin and, you could tell he was super pumped and the Young Bucks. And they were telling me, man, we're going to go out there and we're going to try to have the best match we've ever had. I go, really? He goes, yeah. And I go, well, save me some for my show in June. He goes, yeah, we're going to save you some. But he goes, he said, he goes, we got a surprise tomorrow. And I go, who? He goes, Dean Ambrose. I go, oh my God, that fucking place is gonna come unglued. And
let me ask you a question. Why? I mean, they probably did but let's be honest. That he wasn't some super giant surprise.
Yeah. Well, still, but he was the obvious surprise. Okay, but it still happened, and just
still happened. I'm aware of that, but everybody's talking about okay, here's a Jim Ross. This is one point I want to make. Wait, time out.
I thought he was going when you time out. I thought he was going too, but just the fact that he did do it, I was like, wow, that's great.
Well, if all out is in Chicago and I guess it's Labor Day weekend again, probably that would be the fucking move, wouldn't it? Punk in Chicago if they can make it happen.
Bro, Punk doesn't give a rat's ass.
I mean,
Punk would be invested in this if he cared. I think Punk just walked away from professional wrestling, and now he's engrossed in it. Bro, you meet these people. Let me tell you, I have friends of mine that picked up jiu-jitsu. They weren't even people that worked out a lot. They said, "Hey, I just started doing jiu-jitsu." Hey, I'm going to go to a fighting class, and they're not even fighters or anything, right? Mm-hmm. They picked up jiu-jitsu. They're obsessed with it.
Yeah,
that's all the guy cares about, jiu-jitsu. So I can see Punk right now just being, because he's engrossed in it, just getting upset, this obsession with fighting and doing this, and that's probably what he's interested in. And
I think he's a commentator now.
He's got a lot of money too.
Yeah, but I think when he sees how cool this is, and it's in the spirit of what Punk would have liked. And he's going to get creative freedom. I think he'll come back when he sees. I'm going to guess.
It's all. First of all, AEW is still, everybody's going off one show. Anybody can do one show, and do a good show. And listen, they got to go on. They got to go on weekly TV right now. Okay, that's the appeal. And let me just say one thing. 8 to 10 shows.
Okay, let me just say one thing.
Need to be something that get people hey, I might be interested in watching this.
Okay, I agree with that because somebody told me the other day, they were like, oh, if I were AEW, I'd go Monday nights head to head against Raw. I go
that's me.
The pumps. Well, I wouldn't go there against them. I wouldn't go against them right now.
Let me tell you why.
Yeah.
Let me tell you why. Because I just don't think that you have a fan base right now. Right. Okay, a basic fan base. Okay, and these are it's the wrestling bubble. It's the people that watch wrestling, but not because the ratings are bad. Okay, there's a lot of indie professional wrestling companies that are doing well because this wrestling bubble is fully engrossed in the product. Okay, they know about everything, right? So I just don't think that when you're telling this fan base right now that's watching New Japan, all this other shit and everything, saying, hey, we have an additional 2-hour show for you to watch now. More, you have to watch more wrestling. Okay. I think it's very difficult to ask a very limited fan base to say, hey, consume additional hours of product now. Okay. My whole point is the Monday night audience for the past 20 something years, there is a basic group of fans that watched wrestling on Monday night over the course of time. Okay, WCW fans, WWE fans, that was the night, right? So that number is very low right now because WWE is not putting on a good product. Okay, I think if AEW hits that market right now, where you are hitting the target market of fans that are already watching wrestling on that night and would probably change a channel because WWE is doing so poorly. to check out your show because they're very willing to do it right now because, like, obviously people are literally just turning the show off and not watching anymore because the ratings are bad. So my point is like to hit that target market, I still think there's way more fans in that target market that aren't watching right now that you could get than by putting it on another night because you're scared of the fans that are already watching the show and might not watch your show. Is that a reasonable?
That's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good point.
So that's the way I look at it. I'm like, hey, you got, and if you want to start, like, you want to change the world, start, bro. This is what wrestling needs.
Bro, not just that.
Something head-to-head of money that we can talk about more. That's what wrestling needs.
Not just that. A couple months ago, you weren't really saying that about AEW. But here's another thing: their own fans are turning on them because during the Shane match, there was an AEW chant and another one that said, "This is awful." I mean, your fans are chanting that to you.
That's why I'm saying, and this is a Monday Night Wrestling audience, and they're chanting like, I guarantee you, said, hey, there's another show on right now that's got Jericho. Oh, really? Let me watch
Ambrose,
that.
Yeah.
It's like, how simple is that? It's like you could just go. I guarantee if you're trying to say, like, I'm trying to say the percentage of fans that leave WWE to go watch AEW is way, way higher than I think other people think that would actually just go and just switch and just start watching AEW instead.
So
I think it's a big number.
Then
because I'm watching Raw and I'm watching WWE and, like, I'm critical of I'm the devil's advocate on both companies. I'll look at the things that, like, at AEW that positives and negatives, same thing with WWE. Bro, the WWE negatives are so strong right now. It's like they're doing such ridiculous stuff. I'm like, it's like they're oblivious to the fact they might have competition, So
no, I think they do know they have competition because I was reading somewhere that they had a meeting and that I guess Stephanie did mention them when their policies always. It was alarming because their policy is always they never mention the competition, and she did.
Right.
So they know shit's on.